Hello, I am Professor Dr. Deepika Srivastav from the English department. Today's lecture is for BA 6th semester students. Today's topic is Rag Darbari. It is the most renowned, acclaimed novel penned by a government servant by the name of Sri Lal Shukla. Though it is not an autobiographical novel, it is based on the writer's experiences while he was posted in the districts in various departments. So, he had an in-depth knowledge of the working of the Indian government. The novel was written in Hindi and is a remarkable novel of modern Indian literature. It was published in 1968. After its huge success, Rag Darbari was translated in 15 Indian languages, which is no ordinary feat. It was also translated in English by a Britisher by the name of Gillian Wright in the year 1992. The novel was widely appreciated in India and abroad, and it was adapted for TV as well. And it is clear, therefore, that the novel is extraordinary. Before we delve into the nuances of Rag Darbari, let me acquaint you with the writer Sri Lal Shukla, who was a Hindi writer. Apart from that, he was also a PCS officer. Now this combination was very rare, and in those days, in the 60s, it was not the done thing for a government officer to criticize the system, the government system, but he did it very boldly. These days, of course, we have civil servants who are writing marvelously well, and they are efficient officers also. So gradually this became a norm, but in the 60s when he wrote Rag Darbari, it was very extraordinary achievement for a government official. Shukla was born in 1925 in a village near Lucknow. He died in the year 2011 again in Lucknow at the ripe age of 85 years. Now we can proudly claim that like the great Munshi Premchand, Shukla belongs to UP. So all UPites will take pride in the fact that Sri Lal Shukla belongs to their state. Just days before Shukla died, the writer was awarded the Gyan-Pith Award. This is again a great achievement for a PCS officer. Rag Darbari is a satirical novel, and it was again given the highest Indian Literary Award in 1970, and this is the Sahitya Academy Award. Shukla has written over 25 books, and some of the books I can recall are Makan, Angad ke Paanv, Suni Ghati ki Suraj, Rag Virag, etc. In 1983, he retired from government services and plunged full-time in writing short stories and novels with remarkable success. In the year 2005, he was honored at a function in New Delhi. This function was marked by a book release, and the name of the book was Sri Lal Shukla Jeevan Hi Jeevan, based on his achievements. Now let us examine the novel Rag Darbari in detail. What is the theme of this novel? The novel highlights the failing values present in post-independent Indian society. It also indicates that trust in political authority can never be absolute. It also exposes helplessness of the intellectuals in the face of a strong nexus between criminals, businessmen, the police, the bureaucracy, and the politicians. Let me remind you that in the celebrated novel The White Tiger, written by Aravind Adiga, the same topic is discussed, this nexus between the four pillars of the society, especially in the parts where the writer describes the life and society of Bihar. His novel was awarded the Booker Prize, and it is also a very famous novel. If you get the chance, please read The White Tiger, written by Aravind Adiga. Both the themes are almost the same. That's why I'm mentioning this book. Now, in Rag Darbari, politics and the government, they are the major themes. And he takes up one by one. The writer takes up politics as well as the government system one by one. The characters which I am going to take up later in my lecture are a mixture of many people Shukla came in contact with in his illustrious career. The style of the satirical novel is based on rural fiction and reality. It is a blend of fiction and reality, and this is the reason for its remarkable success. Though Shukla didn't quite like the publicity this novel got, he says that it pushed his other works in the background and they never got their dues. It was always Rag Darbari and Rag Darbari, and his other works were left from the limelight. The title is very misleading. It implies one of the rags of Indian classical music, if you have any idea. Well, I have done my Sangeet Prabhakar in music, so I know that Rag Darbari is a very likable rag of Indian classical music. But in Rag Darbari, this novel, it has nothing to do with this rag. And why was the novel titled on Rag Darbari? Because it is the song sung by a village politician, Vaidji. So Vaidji is singing a song, he's singing a tune, and the whole village folk dance to his tunes. No pun. Now, the novel is narrated from the viewpoint of a young, educated person, Ranganath, who is a research scholar of history. So after completing his master's in history from a well-known university, he pursues his research and he comes to reside with his uncle, the famous man of this novel, Vaidji, in a village named Shivpalganj in one of the parts of Uttar Pradesh. He stays here for a few months maybe 4, maybe 5, and it is during his tenure that he gets to know about the corrupt system prevailing in the villages and how his uncle, he is instigating people to be corrupt. He gradually learns how his uncle uses all village institutions, that is the school, here it stands for the education system, the panchayat, here it stands for the local elected body, and the local government, which encompasses all the departments in the village. They are used by Vaid ji for his political purposes. The conduct of his uncle and village politicians is in stark contrast to the ideals he learned and aspired for during his university education. He thought that life was straightforward, that there was no corruption, but all his ideals are smashed to the ground during his 4-5 months of stay with his uncle. Let me tell you another thing, that the story does not have a fixed plot, for it is a series of anecdotes, series of incidents, and they are loosely connected or not connected at all with each other. It neither has any hero nor is there any protagonist. Ranganath, who is the narrator, he is certainly not the hero of the novel. His health has declined and the doctor has advised him a short stay in the countryside to regain his health and vigor. And so he comes to stay with his uncle Vidyaji in this village of Shivpal Ganj. It's funny how Vidyaji, who is his uncle, whose name means healer in Hindi, Vidya, where it is where there is healer and Vidya is knowledge. So whether you call him Vaidji or whether you call him Vidyaji, it all means the healer. So he does not heal the young boy's mind, but he makes him see how things are in the village. The young scholar who is pursuing his research and who believes in poetic justice, because this is what he had been taught in the university, comes face to face with all pervading hypocrisy and meanness prevailing in rural society of post-independent India. The novel is divided probably into 10 chapters. Please read the novel. If you get the English translation, that will be remarkable. But if you don't get it, then the original Hindi book is readily available. So to have a better grasp of what I am saying, it is in your interest that you read Rag Darbari. Now, when the novel begins, we see that Ranganath, he takes a lift on a truck. The truck driver readily obliges, thinking that he is an officer. But on finding that he is just a university scholar, the driver gets very irritated. But now that he has given him a lift, so he continues to keep him on his truck. On the way, some junior police officer, they come, they stop the truck and they find the poor truck driver, as they say that the truck is worn out and not fit to be on the roads. So this is the first time we see the nexus between police and truck drivers. Ranganath is obviously astonished, and then to forget the incident, he starts explaining the education system of India to the driver. of what use it is for the driver, one cannot understand. But yet, he has to give a lecture on the education system. Shukla ji comments on the police also. Rural folks feel that the police has magical powers, and the policemen think that they are kings, no less than the royalty. However, they never extend any help whatsoever to the rural village folks. Let me add a sentence here. In this hard times, the police is going out of the way to help us, so I really feel bad in saying this. I mean, it is part of the novel, so I am saying it, but the police has shown exceptional duty towards the state they are working for in these days and providing help, succor to all and sundry. So, let me move forward. We are then introduced to Rupam Babu. He is a grown-up man, but surprisingly, he is in the 10th standard for the last 10 years. He goes on repeating the class year after year because he doesn't want to leave the college campus. He takes active part in college politics, and we come across student leaders in the universities, in the colleges who are past their prime and they're still students of the university. So the things haven't changed even now. They are just the same. The writer then apprises us of Changamal Vidyalaya Inter College, and he introduces us to Moti Ram, a teacher who talks more about his flour mill and less about the syllabus to the students. So this is a sarcastic comment on the education system where teachers come, they take a big fat salary and they don't teach. They are into politics, or they are just whiling away their time, wasting the students' time, energy and money. After this, Shukla describes the household of Vaidji's abode, one can say, and he tells us that Vidyaji is also the director or the manager, you can say, of this school or college. Ranganath inquires about Badri wrestler, who is the elder brother of Rupam. Now Rupam is involved in politics, but Badri wrestler is devoted only to bodybuilding, and he keeps himself away from the father as well as his younger brother. And then Sanichar, who is the servant of the household, he informs Ranganath that this elder son has gone to the market to fetch a few items for the house. This shows that he is a simple person and he stays away from politics. Now, Vaidji is called Vaidji because he is also an Ayurvedic doctor by profession, and he attends to his patients. He says there are two types of diseases. One is the public disease and the other is the secret or the private disease. He also teaches how to preserve semen, among other things. Then we are introduced to the common man by the name of Langad. Now he is the person who doesn't have any contacts and who files a land case, and here he enters into quarrels with the clerks of the court, and then he has to pay some bribes. So this is Shukla's comments on the working of the district courts. I will not make any comments here. You yourself can think whether what he is saying is correct or not. Then we see that a room having Rupam's books are given to Ranganath for his stay. Here Ranganath is told about stories of thieves, another thing which Shukla ji takes up. By Sanichar, he is telling the tales of thieves. Both conclude that earlier thieves were smarter, they were more fierce, but nowadays thieves also cannot fight anyone and they are there only for namesake. Having said that, I come to the case of advertisement or the media. This has become the subject of discussion in Shivpal Ganj. The literates would read out to the illiterates the news items and they would all flock around him and listen to the stories which were reported in the media, in the papers. Then there were no TVs and there were no other forms of advertisement except the newspapers. Even now, we see villagers sitting at the tea stalls or at the pan stalls, and one of them reads out the newspaper and the other are flocking around and listening to the news item. But now, of course, you have the mobiles and you have all the news item on the mobile, and then you have TV in all homes. So this is not prevalent anymore, not true in the present times. Before we end the summary, we have to take up the cooperative union system also, which is just as corrupt as the other offices of the state government. Here the supervisor is seen loading sacks of wheat which was meant for this village, and he runs to another village and there he will sell it at the highest price he can get. So the writer is commenting on the corruption in all fields, in all departments, and one can say that it is true even now. In the village, factionalism dominates, and this has its own purposes. For they think that it is a tradition which is written and mentioned in the Vedas. In the village, an incident occurs every 4 days and it makes news headlines. For example, a boy is caught writing a love letter to his girlfriend. Now this will make news, and for this work he is expelled, and his father will be asked to pay something in return. Only then will his son be readmitted. So this is how the system works, and maybe he has to pay 5,000 bricks or even more, even less, depending on his capacity to pay, and then the son will be readmitted. Now you know that this is what Rag Darbari is. It has nothing to do with music. It is just a very critical analysis of the goings on in rural villages in the 1960s or the 70s, and maybe it is prevalent even now. Can't say. I am not here to make my personal comments. Before I end, I would like to briefly take up the characters of Rag Darbari, who in any case you are acquainted with by now. First is Vaidyaji. He is the mastermind behind all village politics. He is very articulate in forming his sentences and choosing his words. Vaidyaji is also officially the manager of the local inter-college, and so he has a clout in the village. He has 2 sons. This younger one is more active than the elder one. The younger one is Rupam Babu, and he is the leader of the college students politics. Rupam Babu has remained in the 10th grade for the last 10 years, and he does not want to leave the college, nor does he want to pass the 10th standard, surprisingly. Because his father is the manager there and he can have his way. Rupam is actively involved in the village politics apart from the college politics, and is very well received and respected by the village folks, the village community, because of his illustrious parentage. His father is so important, Vedji. Towards the end of the novel, however, a gradual change can be observed in his behavior. Then we come to the elder son, Badri Pahalwan. Now, Pahalwan tells us that he is into bodybuilding and he keeps himself away from his father's involvement and keeps himself busy in activities which are his choice. He takes care of his protege. Ranganath is the narrator, of course, and an educated person. He is an MA in history and he is pursuing his research. By all standards, he is a highly educated person. He also happens to be the nephew of Vidyaji. He has come to Shivpalganj on a vacation for about 5-6 months, and it appears that the writer wants to give the view of the pathetic condition of the Indian villages, especially UP villages, through the eyes of a highly educated person. Then we come to Chote Pahalwan. He is the protege of Badri Pahalwan and he is a devout disciple of Lord Hanuman. Then we have Principal Sahab. He is the principal, does not need any introduction, and he is into the school politics, and his relationship with other members of the staff of the college forms an important part of the plot of Rag Darbari. Then there is Sanichar. He is a servant to Vaidji and was later made the puppet Pradhan, the leader of the village, using the clout of Vaidji. So he also rises from the petty position of a servant to the pompous position of the Pradhan of this village. And Langar is the last character I would like to take. He is the common man, the representative of the hapless village man who has to bend in front of the corrupt system, the officials, the police, and he gets nothing done because nobody will listen to the common man. This is the setup of the village. Now, by the end of the novel, we see that Ranganath's ideals are shattered. The author shows how independence won from the Britishers has gone awry. How the command and control economy has enabled the corruption to flourish and exploit the gullible majority is what the novel indicates. The writer shows how senior officers of the bureaucracy turn a Nelson's eye towards harassment of the public by not listening to them, not doing anything, and just sitting there and making money. And he also shows the misuse of power by politicians. Now these are topics which one should not be commented upon by me, so I leave it at that, and I leave it for you to ponder on the selfish ends of bureaucracy, selfish ends of the political system, and see whether these corrupt ways are prevalent in society today. Nothing much has changed. So, just as Ranganath was a mute spectator, unable to change the pattern, so is the common man, which includes you as well as me. With these words, I conclude my lecture on this renowned, acclaimed novel, Rag Darbari. Thank you.